Well, welcome back to the Gibson LG2 guitar repair series. It just keeps getting more and more interesting with this little booger here. You know, when I told you about when I took the bridge off of it, I didn't even heat the bridge. I took those nuts off at the bottom of the screws and took one of those little knives and just started pecking around in the crack, and it practically fell off. You know, like I said, I never even had to heat the thing. Those screws were the only thing holding this bridge on there, and those screws are the reason that this guitar has got a major belly like it does. That's a crappy idea. I don't know why Gibson or anyone would do that. But check this out. It gets more interesting, folks. You know what those are? Those are back braces. I told you they were loose. I was getting ready to, well, I'll take a damp cloth like this, and I'll take a knife like this, stick it into the damp cloth, and I'll stick this up underneath between the loose braces and the whatever they're glued to, the back in this case, and clean that out good. It's not very wet, it's just damp, and it gets in there and gets everything loose, whatever dust and lint and everything that gets in between the braces and whatever it's glued against. It cleans all that out. I was doing that and noticed that the center here was the only pieces, right in the very middle, was the only pieces that was actually holding these braces inside of there. And there's a strip of wood that goes right down the center of the back, and this was kind of wedged in between those pieces of wood. That's all it was holding these in there. There was no glue at all holding either of these two braces. Like I say, they were attached at the very middle of them by that little piece of wood that runs down the back of the inside. So I went ahead and just took them completely out. I mean, they were just laying in there. I marked the back on them and numbered them. Of course, it's obvious which how they go, but I just like to be safe, you know, put the same one back in the right place. Anyways, got jacks out. I don't know where they went, but they're all here somewhere. And I'm going to just glue in one brace at a time. So that's what we're going to do today. I'm going to glue this big bracing. I've already cleaned it out good inside. And there's going to be a lot of gluing throughout this whole series. I mean, I found a few more braces on the top side that are loose. Still got the face plate on it. Got her clamped down. She's flat right now. But I've got to get all those braces in there glued up tight while it's flat. So when I remove this, those braces will keep it as flat as possible. That's the idea. That's the chance we're taking, you know, when avoiding a neck reset. So anyways, I won't bore you to death with that. I'll bring you back once I get one of them. I'm going to glue the big one in first. Actually, I might glue the even bigger one, the last one, the fourth one back, because it's loose on both ends too. I may glue that first before even attempting to put either of these back in. Anyways, I'll bring you back in a few minutes. Well, a few minutes your time, a few hours mine, and show you what we've done. Hold on. Well, I'm still gluing braces, folks. I'm just going to show you how I go about doing that. I wanted to show you this brace here in a few minutes. The one back brace, the fourth one all the way back in the lower bout back here, I'm going to have to glue one end of it at a time because it's a long brace and it's loose on both ends. And you know, a lot of that can affect the top being flat or not. I mean, the whole thing is built to hold itself together, all those braces. And you know, one brace fails, the next one can fail, and it's just a multiple thing that can keep happening. So I'm going to use a little pipette like this. I'm going to get inside of there with that thing and fill it up, suck it up with glue, and stick it back in the crack I'm going to try to show you, and eject the glue into it with that. If I can find Well, hold on. Let me just get the camera and I'll show you what I'm talking about with the brace. I don't know if you can make anything out of that or not, but there's quite a gap between that brace and the back. I have a, like I say, I have a light in there that's shining. Hopefully you can see that. That's the brace loose on one side. Hold on. Alright, there you go. Now you can see the brace pulled up on it. Check that out, how far that brace is pulled up. It'll be real easy to get glue under that one. And then as you can see here, I was telling you, that brace is one of the ones I have out right now. And of course, the next one up as well. That one. I've got a mirror in there, so that kind of confuses things too. Anyways, I wanted to show you what that looked like inside of there. Hold on. Okie doke. Had to rig up a jack here. I'll tell you about that in a minute. But you can see we got good squeeze out. I think you can see that. I done wiped it away once. I'm going to get in there again and wipe it away. Squeeze out on both sides. My jacks, those jacks, screwed all the way in as small as they will go, like that, are too long to fit in this guitar. I can screw, you know, one side, say down here, or the top up here completely off, and then use something like this, you know, it's a block of wood, for this end to set against, and only use half of the jack and still use them that way. But for right here, I cut a block, and this block of wood, and I used that block of wood and a wedge. I cut a little wedge and made it to fit exactly in there, you know, tight enough to shove that brace down and make contact with the back and hold it in position until the glue dries. So that's what's happening right now. You know what? I'm going to have to glue make one glue joint at a time on this thing. This thing is so brittle, man, and unstable. I mean, it is unstable. I don't know how in the world it held together like it did. And I was going to start with putting those braces in the back, the farthest back, and work forward. But as unstable as it is, I thought, no, you know, I'm gonna work right here where I can reach first. Stabilize it, you know, there first, everywhere I can reach it, and then start on the top. And I want to keep this thing on here, keep that top flat, and glue all of these braces solid with the top flat while it's flat. And then when we remove this faceplate, that top, you know, it may come back up a little bit, the belly, but it shouldn't be anything like it was before. Ideally, we'd like to see it stay completely flat, but I don't know if we're going to be that lucky or not, but it's got to be better than it was. It couldn't be any worse, that's for sure. So I'll bring you back here in a little bit after the glue sets out. Well, it's been a few hours later. Actually, it's been many hours, a bunch of hours later. That brace is glued now. You're looking at in the guitar hole, way back in the guitar. That's back brace number 4. And it's secured and fixed. Okay? Now, bring you up here. Give me some cord here. That brace is glued now, too, all the way across. I got the cord hooked up to the camera because the battery's dead. But that's the first brace, number 1. It's fixed. I'm going to do probably that second one next. I may do the third one next because the second one won't be in the way when I do the third one. Like I say, on back in there. Ah, come on, camera, focus. There's brace number 2 where it will be. Brace number 3. And brace number 4 that I just showed you. You can't see it very good. Man, it's hard to get my arms back in there. But 2 braces are fixed, glued. I still got this horrid face clamp on there. And I'll tell you again why in a minute. Hold on. I used this little pipette, sucked it up full of glue, and got way back in there. The end of this thing's crimped too, and it's really small. Got way back in there, squeezed all this glue underneath the brace. And then, like I said before, these are the smallest jacks that I have. And they're too big. I don't know why they won't fit in that guitar, but you can see here maybe. No, you can't see it, can you? Maybe there you can see it. They're as thick, as wide as the guitar is, thick. So, went up in the shop and I made me a bunch of these braces that kind of curl them on the ends. And I can just, once I had the glue under there, I'd stick these back in there and twist them, and that would force pressure down on the brace, you know, up against the X bracing on the top, above the brace. So it worked out real good. I made a whole bunch of these things, and made some different size ones. You know, I'm probably going to run into this trouble again sometime. This is the first guitar I've worked on that the jacks wouldn't fit inside of it. The guitar ain't thick enough. So I made those, and that's what I used. And like I say, I have to do 1 brace at a time. One side of 1 brace at a time. Because with all these braces out, and the ones that are loose on top, and I've found 5 now so far. This thing, and as brittle as it is, and old as it is, it's really not very secure at all, man. It's very brittle. You know, I don't want to put a whole bunch of jacks in there and apply a bunch of pressure out on all those braces, or on any brace, with all these other braces missing, taken out of it right now. So I can only do 1 glue joint basically at a time until I get more of it built up and get it stronger. Then I can start putting a bunch of jacks in there. And I discovered today that these braces, I hope you can see that, they are arched. See, on both ends. They're not warped, they're arched, because the back has a little bit of an arch in it. So that's why the braces are not, you know, perfectly flat. A lot of flat top guitars actually have a little bit of arch to them. I've heard Taylor talk about that, of Taylor guitars. They call them flat tops, but they're not really flat, you know what I mean? Same with the back. A lot of them's got an oval-like shape to the back and the front. This one's probably going to come back up this belly a little bit. Hopefully it'll be just a little bit. And it'll have, you know, an arch in it like the back of it does. The less it comes back up, though, the better. Now, let me show you this before I tell you about the face clamp again. The bridge had a tiny crack right here, if you can see that. I saw this the day that I met the owner and picked it up. It wasn't coming apart, but you could see it on both ends, you know. It hadn't split or come apart. And but I put some thin viscosity cyanoacrylate glue in that, thin, so it could run down inside of there, and I clamped it. And I'm going to sand it down, you know, a little bit. Sand this glue off of the bottom of it right here before I put the bridge back on. But I wanted to show you that little split right there. I think you can see it. I don't have my glasses. I can see the camera, but I can't see where they shit. But it's not going to be a problem. It's just something I wanted to show you that I wanted to fix. The thin viscosity cyanoacrylate glue is what I'm going to use on this major crack on the side too. I may have to mix dust with it, I don't know yet. But that thin glue will run down in there in places other glue won't go. And then I'll sand it down and smooth it out a little bit, and that will stabilize that too. Like I say, all these braces and all these things that are loose right now are all a part of what holds the whole thing together under tension, string tension. So and that's the reason this is still on there. Haven't taken it off yet. I want to make all those repairs, especially on the top, but the back ones count too, because like I say, it's all designed to hold itself together. So I want to make all these repairs on the top with this thing clamped down tight like this, because the top is flat now, and I'm thinking it has a little bit of an oval shape to it too, because like I say, when I shoved this top down, those braces separated from the top. They retained their memory, so to speak. So yeah, I'm going to get in there after I get the back braces in. I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then once all that sets up, I got to do it one glue joint at a time, one side of a brace at a time. For instance, I'll put this. Well, I'm actually going to put this brace in next, and I'll glue one side of it. Okay. Put one of these jacks I made in there, a wooden jack of all things. Let that cure, then I'll get glue under this other side and put a jack on that and let it cure, because I don't want to put a whole lot of pressure in that thing pushing it apart. Like I say, it's so brittle and there's so many loose braces, it would do more damage than it would good. So this faceplate's staying on here until I get all of those top braces. I found 5, I'm sure there's going to be some more, I think. But I found 5 so far. I'm going to fix those and let it all cure and set up and everything before I ever take this thing off. And it should be ready for strings. Well, we got to do a fret job on it yet, fret dressing. And I found something else out. I may have already told you that, but I found out that Gibson made a what they called a Banner Series LG2 guitar. Now they may have made other models besides the LG2 with this. What that was up here at the logo, just below the logo, it had a banner across the peg head. It said, only a Gibson is good enough. I think that's what it said. And those were LG2 Banner Series guitars. I didn't know this until I got to checking up and reading about this one, and found out a lot more information about it. It's probably a late 1945 or was built in 1946. So one of those two. I'm 99% certain of that finally. But anyways, guys and gals, that's where we are so far today on the Gibson little LG2. I can't wait to hear what this thing sounds like. But you got the braces, 2 of them in, 2 to go on the back, and then I'll repair all the braces on the top. Then I'll remove this, prepare the bridge and the bridge area, and we'll put the bridge back on it, minus the 2 screws that were under these inlays. You know, if those screws, that's all was holding this bridge on there, in fact. Like I say, I didn't even heat it to get it off. But by those 2 screws being in this bridge, the glue let go, the screws held, and that's why right up, you know, in the lower bout behind the bridge back here, it had such a big belly on it, because those 2 screws were just pulling the shit out of it, man. That was all, really, basically, that was holding the bridge on. So I don't know, man. I don't know why they ever did that. I'm going to leave them out and glue it on, and I guarantee you it'll stay on without having to screw it. You know? So, I can't think of anything else at the minute. I'm going to let those set up another few hours, and then I'll come back in here, put this brace in, glue the lower side, then glue the upper side after the lower side cures and sets up, because yeah, a little bit at a time, guys, until she starts to level out or get more stable. It's very, very unstable right now, and it's brittle from being so old and so dry for so long. But humidity's helping that a great deal, but it's just really brittle. Oh, yeah, and I found out too, a collector told me the prices on these, the value of these LG2 guitars. I was shocked to find out. They run generally from $1,000 to $4,000, $5,000, and even above that. I guess depending on the shape and maybe the age and the shape they're in, you know. I was really shocked to hear that. I mean, I knew it was probably worth something, but I didn't think it would be $5,000, or, you know, could be. Yeah, one, yeah, I'm sure that would be in mint condition and all, but still, that's way more value than I thought the guitars were. And like someone in the comments on another video said, probably the guitar would be worth spending the money for and doing the neck reset. But we already going this route now, and it's looking pretty good. I think we're going to be okay. When you try to avoid that neck reset, though, you know, you can't really make any guarantees. I mean, I understand, you know, why people would want to avoid it. It's expensive. But when you avoid it and do all this stuff, you're taking a really big chance. It may work and it may not. Jesse Anderson's guitar worked, but it just barely did. You know, it's just, I don't know. You should do a neck reset. I mean, I guess if you really want to do it right, that's the way to do it. And then eventually, I'm sure we're going to get another one in here, and I'm going to show you all that stuff, right down to figuring out how to calculate the angle that the neck should be, the plane of the neck, rather, with the plane of the bridge. But all this has changed now because I'm flattening the top out, so the plane of the bridge is going to be different than what it was when it came in here. The neck may still need reset after all this, but it won't be nearly as bad as what it was. I can guarantee you that. So anyways, I'm going to turn the camera off, go back to work, and I don't know, I might let that set up overnight, and then that's probably what I'll do before I start applying more pressure to the inside and gluing another brace in. But I'll bring you back, see you in a few days with another update. And probably we'll be working on top braces in that video, talking about that. And if I find out any more information, I'll let you know. That $5,000+ price tag probably is also a complete original LG2, whether it be old or new. That always makes a big difference, it seems like, especially to collectors. And it was a collector that told me this. This guy knows a lot about old guitars and new ones. So there you have it, friends. I want to bring you back and show you how much progress. We made a lot of progress today, considering we can only do one. I can only put like two at the most of these inside it at a time. Very strange that my Stu Mac jacks are too big. Like I say, I could have worked around that, but it was just easier to go up in the shop and cut, you know, these out. I can just stick them in between the braces. Once I have the glue in there, stick them in there, twist it just a little bit, and I've got plenty of pressure. Had good squeeze out on all of that stuff. It works fine. I've used those before, but not quite that big like in mandolins I've used them in. Anyways, I'll see you on the next video, and hopefully we'll be working on this top in that one, or we could probably work on the frets maybe while we're waiting on glue to set up. We'll see. Thank you guys for watching. Thanks for all the information on the people. You know, you already gave me the info on this and other LG2 guitars. LG series, you should look them up. There was a bunch of them. And I'll see you next time, guys. Cheers to you. Peace. Peace out.